What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind Flux podcast. And today we have a special episode from the quarantine. And it's about the quarantine, the mindset mirror. And the big idea of this episode, guys, is this is an amazing opportunity to take advantage of the time you have. So if you are new to the Mind Flux podcast, this is a show for creators and doers who want more and aren't going to let anyone stop them from getting it. If you've been struggling with making decisions, with meeting new people, or anything, head over to mindflux.com and grab one of our free guides. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes, leave a review. As always, we are produced by Benji Got Beats. I'm one of your hosts, Tristan Parmley, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Josh Matthews.
And we're going to get right into it. So today we're talking about the concepts of the quarantine and how this opportunity, this event is really an opportunity. And I like to call it a mindset mirror because it's forcing people to think and it's forcing people to look at what's really important in their lives, and it's giving people the opportunity to sit back and relax for a while. So Josh, what do you think about, this time right now and how it can be utilized as a tool instead of, something to be so afraid of?
Yeah, so for me personally, I think this is a amazing opportunity right now for people, just like you said, to like actually sit down and be able to, whether it's, collect their thoughts from the past 2, 3, 6 months or even a year. Because I mean, we're fresh getting into 2020, and obviously, we had a bunch of people make a bunch of goals and stuff. So for one, that's one opportunity for people to kind of reset again and try to figure out what's working, what's not, but also just from a standpoint of being able to, for one, sit by yourself and think, and also be able to maybe start that business you've always wanted to start, read that book, maybe even have certain conversations you've been wanting to have. Because, for me personally, I'm in my room. So like I've actually the past couple of days, like just called people I haven't talked to in a minute, just because I needed some interaction with somebody. But it goes into a lot of things, and we'll unravel it when it comes to this episode.
Yeah, I think like people actually have to talk to each other. I think what's unique about this is like the least amount of responsibility people ever have. Like, students are not expected to be in school. There's a lot of employees who aren't expected to be at work. There's family members who aren't expecting things from each other because it's kind of like everybody stay inside and be safe. And of course, that is the right thing to do, right? Like, listen to the guidelines, follow what's going on out there in the world. But at the same time, like you said, this gives you the chance to read the book, to work out from home, right? Everybody can YouTube home workouts, to get healthy foods from the grocery stores, because for whatever reason, everything's out of stock in the unhealthy aisles and the meats. But fruits and vegetables, a lot of places are still pretty high stock. So that tells you a lot about how, we shop. And I really like, was Alex McKinley said on her episode, go around your grocery store, not through the aisles,
Mm-hmm.
right? And get the stuff out of those refrigerated sections of fresh foods. Another thing, though, starting a business right now, like, I don't think people realize there's so much that goes into a business other than the idea. Like, you can have the idea of like, I'm going to sell black gloves, right? Like black gloves. And that's going to make my business cool. I have a business because it's my idea. Like, no, that's not enough. Like, this will give you the time to find where you're going to get the gloves, to find multiple suppliers, to figure out shipping rates, to figure out where you can send it to, like there's so much time.
Mm-hmm.
So other than like calling people, how have you been like spending your time to like reset and to like stabilize? Because it feels like this is like the new norm, like for a while. This is going to be lasting a while. How are you like resetting on a daily basis, and then also like big picture?
Yeah, for sure. So like, I don't know about a lot of people, but for me, even like for one, my habits have had to have my routine has had to have a kind of a complete like 360 all at once. And for me, like, our whole show is about change, but to a certain extent, sometimes so much changes, like, it like freezes you a little bit. So like for me, I quickly realized just in the first couple of days, obviously, that, we're not, I'm used to like being in our office. I'm used to like having a structured, work environment to, coming back to my room. So, I mean, the first thing I think for people, like, especially like if your routine completely changes, um, I would, one thing that I've been doing is basically kind of implementing a new routine because I'm in a new environment. So for me, it's waking up by like 7:30, 8 o'clock, um, a little later than what I'm used to. But that's obviously because I'm not like at the gym and everything, but waking up a little bit earlier, maybe even just doing one or two things. Um, through this week and then adding on next week a couple more things. So then that way I can like get into my mode and back into like a structure of what I need to be. But one big thing is just like trying to, like I said, apply those certain principles. So then that way, because we're gonna be in this for a while. Like that got honestly real to me yesterday when I found out the public schools K through 12 are out until May 1st. So we're gonna be here in the bunkers for a while. So that entails a new kind of like routine. That entails kind of like starting out getting used to you know finding your flow of like how you're gonna go about things. So everybody's in a new flow.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, probably the first week, 2 weeks, it's all, fun and games, Netflix series. Like there's no sports, but eventually you will get bored and get tired of that, right? Like every human being is habitual. So if you have been in the habit of going to work or working out or whatever, you've been in the habit of not being in the house so much, and then all of a sudden you're getting forced into it, people are going to start to feel a lot of discomfort. And that's why I said this is a very good, like it's a mindset mirror, because you can learn to take responsibility for yourself and figure out what you really want to do. There's going to be a lot of people who come out of this jobless, and there's going to be a lot of people who come out of this who don't want to go back to their jobs, because over the next month, 2 months, even a week off is enough for people to realize what's really necessary in their lives or not, or what's really worth their time or not, or what they really, really, really want to do. So don't let this opportunity pass and, just watch the Netflix or let the time fly by and lose the opportunity without this responsibility. Like I was saying, like for us right now, this is amazing because our business, we were already transitioning a lot of things. And now, our clients have bigger fish to fry, and we're ready to help them, fry them in whatever way we can. But it takes some stress off of our backs trying to make something work. When it comes to Mind Flux, we've been wanting to go mobile for a long time, and now we're starting to chip away at the things to make that happen. So that way we can record these episodes from anywhere in the world. Um, and then with our personal lives, just getting mobilized, I think, is the biggest thing. And also handling that mentality of being by yourself. So a lot of people are with their families right now. So like students in universities, they have to go home. They have to leave their dorms and everything. There's obviously a lot of kids at home after the K through 12. And then even us, as adults, like we're home, right? So the mentality of, you're with your family, but you're being by yourself. How do you handle like true alone time? How do you take advantage of alone time and not just let it pass by you? Because I know it can get uncomfortable being alone, like not having the TV on and forcing yourself not to turn it on in your bedroom, not getting on your phone and like getting sucked into Twitter or YouTube. No music, nothing, just being you and you. What is that like, the mentality of being by yourself? Because I think for some people it scares the crap out of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think for one, it just starts out with, for one, just like realizing and becoming aware that you need to, like, in order, especially if you're new in a new environment, especially like if you're going to be by yourself, maybe even like just in your room most of the time. It's just important to become aware that in order to move forward and be comfortable with that time with yourself, you have to like figure out what you want and where you want to go. Because like for me, it's actually happened yesterday. It's in one of my old notebooks. I had to write yesterday. So this little story. So like yesterday, I because I've been in my room, and it honestly feels like a freaking jail cell. Just I couldn't even imagine going to prison, man. Like because I have a laptop, TV, phone, everything, but I'm in my room, but it's just like like
Still
right,
uncomfortable.
still uncomfortable. So like literally, I was just had so many thoughts going through my head from one thing to the other to one thing to the other. You know, not like bad thoughts, but just like actually like good thoughts. It's just there were so many of them and so many like different aspects of my life. It was probably the first time I ever did it. Really, I had to get out a piece of paper and literally write a whole page of what was going on in my mind because like I
Mm,
had nobody to express it to. And that's one thing too. Like you don't always, especially during this time, you don't always have someone to express those things to because like you need to express them to yourself and like within yourself first. So like yesterday for me, I had to literally, I was just like, all right, that's it. Get a notebook and then just write everything that's going on in my mind, kind of what I want out of this situation, what's happened in the past week, like exactly, like even from business, friendships, doesn't matter what it is, it's just writing every single thing down. So in that way, like that's your way of just like facing yourself and realizing where you currently are. And then you could take those next steps of like where you want to go. But it's definitely just like becoming clear with yourself on where you're at. And then that may be writing stuff, that may be meditating, that may be just sitting in silence, whatever works for the individual.
yep, and being with the family too. Like a lot of people, especially like students, for example, college students or people who are on this journey of maybe entrepreneurship or um, the people who think outside the box, right now might feel the most trapped because for whatever reason it feels like there's less opportunity. Oh, nobody wants to buy anything because we're all locked in. Nobody wants to do anything because we're all locked in. Yeah, that might be true. You should practice social distancing, right? But that doesn't stop you from sending those DMs to making those connections. That doesn't stop you from, like you said, writing out the problem until the problem's on the paper and not in you, right? Like I love that practice from Bob. Bob Proctor has talked about that, and I've used it once before myself, and it's very good. Like, and I've got a notebook here that I've started to just write all kinds of different things in. So I think it comes down to like perspective. Change your perspective on being alone and how this can actually be a tool. Like a lot of people hate being alone, but you came into this world alone. You're going to go out of this world alone. Like you've got to get comfortable with the space between your own ears. You've got to get comfortable with your body, and you've got to figure that out. Um, and I think for a lot of people too, like you can sit down and create some, new goals based on not only where you're at, where you want to go, but also the state of what everything's in right now. Like your real results are not going to change that much right now because everything is on pause. The economy, education, even grocery stores, right? Like everything is on pause. So you can really look at where you are, where you want to be, and not have to stress so much about like so and so is going to get there tomorrow and I'm stuck here. Because truth is they're probably not. There's not a lot of people making massive quantum leaps on paper right now. I think all the growth that's happening in the world right now is happening right here in the head and in the heart because there's a lot of people learning so much about themselves and about their emotional intelligence of what they want to be. And that's why I said like a lot of people are going to come out of this without jobs by choice. A lot of people are going to come out of this without certain friends. A lot of people are going to come out of this with change, true change, which is what this show is about. So I think people can start to take advantage in learning about their finances, the books, like you said, um, all the YouTube videos. You could probably just YouTube self-help. I've never actually done that because we have a list of people to listen to. But you can see, I'm sure there's thousands of videos right there from the search. And you have YouTube and Google at your disposal. If you're listening to this right now, you have two of the greatest tools ever to learn right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess to kind of like I guess blossom that change or help with that change, what are some of the things you would suggest some people do as well to like maximize this time? Because I think the rest of life is getting minimized. How much time we spend, obviously going to work and coming back, or going to the grocery store, coming back. I mean, there's no restaurants, cafes, bars, movie theaters, stuff like that. So people only have really a few options, and it's all of them kind of result in moving forward. What would you suggest that people do?
Yeah. Well, first off, I suggest like figure out what you want out of this time. Like figure out what it is that you want, so then that way, like you know, like where you are, and then you know where you need to go. Because like for us, like you know, we kind of mapped out what we want from this time, whether it is 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, and hope not 90 days.
Right.
I just hope not. But um, you know, you got to figure out what you want, so then that way that sets your course of action on what you need to do. So like you know, whether that is you want to learn like a new skill, or you want to learn new information, or you want to learn about a certain topic, you know, there's books out there, there's YouTube like you mentioned, there's one thing I definitely recommend doing is kind of like getting on a schedule. Don't use this time as to be like very sporadic in terms of like your schedule, whether it is like if you're gonna wake up a little early, like wake up early. If you're gonna stay up late, like definitely stay up late. Because like if you're not like being consistent, then you know your schedule is going to fluctuate, and it'll be harder to build the habits that you need to build. Um, there's online courses, like there's connecting with people. So like for me, one idea that I had yesterday was like, wow, maybe I should just like use this time to connect with social media with people I've been wanting to connect with. And maybe like set some stuff up, set some calls up just to like network. Because obviously we gotta do social distancing. So it's a good opportunity for that. A bunch of different stuff. Like what are some things like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like you were just saying, there's things you could do for free. I just realized, and I've never even used them um, yet, but I've got free apps on my phone for learning things like Duolingo, to learn Spanish and a couple other things. There's apps like Canva where you can make little designs and like this is a chance to be creative, right? Like languages, learning languages, that's good for the brain. Canva, there's singing apps you can use to learn. There's you said courses, like you can learn how to sell things online, you can learn how to make videos, you can learn how to do photography. Like there's so much that can be done right now in terms of learning alone. And I think learning is one of the best ways to pass time because it requires activity, it requires testing, it requires action to truly learn. And we've got an episode in the vault about that. Learning is not getting the information, learning is taking action on it. And pretty much everything that you guys can do right now, learning wise, you can also take action on, right? Like the language stuff, the singing stuff, the photos and videos, all that stuff can be done at home. But you can spend quality time. For the first time in a long time, a lot of people have the time to spend quality time with those that they love. You can catch up with friends and family members on FaceTime. You can meditate. I really would suggest, because this is something that you and I bounced back and forth on for a long time, but visiting your finances like daily. Just look at everything because people are living a subscription lifestyle. And for those who don't have work right now, their bank balance is only going to go one way. And they're going to start to see all the things that they're not using. So make sure you're paying attention to your finances, to your credit. Tidy up your room or your house, get things spring cleaned and ready to donate. And really just keep moving forward. This is not the end of the world. And if you're taking care of yourself and taking care of the people around you and you're following the things that you're supposed to do, you are going to come out of this actually better. I know for a fact this is an opportunity for you and I where, we're going to come out of this feeling better than we have because we're using this as a tool daily with like the most opportunity we've had to work on ourselves in a long time. So I wouldn't say anything extra than what you've already said.
Yep, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like you said, just opportunity. Because one thing I do think with this whole situation, it's just like a time because everything is so fast paced when it comes to social media, getting into work, just being a human is just so fast paced in today's day and age that I think it's just like really opportunity for everything, the world to kind of just like stop and people get back to like what truly matters. And I think that's like very, very important. And then, once we come out of this, I feel like, you know, everything will be vibrant again. The sun will come out. People will be happier. People will appreciate more being around others. Um, like for sure. Like I feel like every freaking business, restaurant, everywhere is going to just be just everybody so happy when they
Yeah.
get to be out again.
Yeah, this is a chance to minimize and because of that maximize,
Hmm.
I agree completely. And I think that, when I say this mindset mirror, do not, for everybody listening, do not let this time go by without taking care of, yourself, figuring yourself out, doing some things to figure yourself out. You may not get it all. And if you're listening to this, 6 months or a year from now and everything's back to normal, you can still choose to take time to yourself and experience, that the alone time we were talking about, to experience the things that you can do to work on yourself because they don't change. All the things that you and I said to do, you can do when the world is normal as well. You can do
Hmm.
when everything is open, you can do when everything is moving. You just have to consciously choose to do it. So let this be that opportunity and don't let that opportunity go by. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys. This is episode 20, Quarantine, the Mindset Mirror. Guys, every week we let out a new episode on Monday. We call it Million Monday. And we want to start doing giveaways on those days to people who repost our content. So go to our Instagram at Mindfluxed, MINDFLUXED. Screenshot your favorite post and share it to your story. Tag us and use the hashtag Million Monday, and you'll get selected for some giveaways. And we want to start doing, products, gears, access, and even calls with us, anything really to connect more with our fan base. Our goal is to reach 1 million lives per week with this show and to help people make an actual change to get the results that they want on this success journey. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening on iTunes, leave a review based on the value you got from this episode. You can find me at Tristan is Thinking. Actually, no, I just changed my Instagram. You can find me at Tristan is Better. You can find Benji, our producer, at Benji Got Beats. Where can they find you, Josh?
On IG at I am Josh Matthews.
Boom. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.